War of the Spark spoilers are done, which means I gotta make a pre-release guide, because who else is gonna do it, honestly? Probably everyone else with a YouTube channel, that's fair. Let's just jump right to it, folks. Okay, War of the Spark looks amazing. The artwork, the lore, you probably have heard every pack has a planeswalker in it, which is crazy. It's crazy. We have never seen a set like this before. We may never see a set like this ever again. History in the making. But point is, there's a planeswalker in every pack. What? I know they're not all the mythic rare, you win in 4 turns, thanks for playing type planeswalkers, but the point is, this is reshaping the limited pre-release landscape. This set's gonna be pretty hard to judge, and I think we're all just kind of winging it to an extent. Me less so, because I have a longer name than most YouTube channels, which I think is a huge advantage in today's market. Has nothing to do with anything. I'm very excited for the pre-release. I hope you are too. Let's get into it. In your pre-release kit, you will get 6 normal booster packs. There are no guild or color specific packs, but we do get 2 promos, 1 planeswalker of any rarity and 1 rare or mythic rare card, both of which will be foil date stamped promos. Now the new mechanic for this set is amass, which can be found on creatures, instants, sorceries, even a planeswalker. When you amass, you either add counters to the zombie army token you already have, or create a black zombie army token with the stated number of counters on it. Yes, we are amassing a zombie army. That's a pretty fantastic flavor win. Now we have a couple returning mechanics. First is proliferate. Basically, when you proliferate, you pick any creatures or planeswalkers you want that already have counters on them, and when you proliferate, they get another one. There's also crew. Crew means you need someone to drive the vehicle for it to become a creature and attack or block. You do that by tapping 1 or multiple creatures to essentially use their power and ride it into battle. Vehicles do have summoning sickness, so remember they can't attack the first turn they come under your control, but pro tip, they can be crewed by creatures with summoning sickness. Finally, planeswalkers now have a static ability. This basically makes them into living enchantments. What is important to know is that there are 3 tiers of planeswalkers. The uncommons with decent static abilities but only have minus abilities. Then there's the rares, which come with a static ability as well as a plus and minus activated ability. And of course, mythic rares, great static abilities, ultimates that can outright win you the game, and potentially a plus and minus ability as well. Question time, should you play every planeswalker? Answer, yes. Am I sure about that? No, but a pre-release is as good a time as any to play 5-color fun stuff. Just do it. On a more serious note though, some planeswalkers have hybrid costs, so being able to fit in 2 or 3 may not be that difficult depending on your card pool. Here's another pro tip. Don't assume that every planeswalker your opponent plays needs to be destroyed ASAP. This format will be slow. I'm willing to venture out and say this format will potentially be the slowest and grindiest pre-release when compared to all other current standard sets. One reason is some players will just want to play every planeswalker they can. Talking about myself here. While some players will want to be a bit more selective, they're the fools. Regardless, some players will see a planeswalker and immediately think they need to do everything they can to destroy it, but if your opponent plays Ashiok, Dreamrender, take a second and think about it. If their static ability stopping you from searching for cards doesn't impact you, and you're not worried about the minus ability milling you out, then don't waste attacks or removal on it, and keep your eyes on the prize, your opponent's health. Weighing these pros and cons are very important, and after that first game, being able to sideboard and your overall card evaluation will be a critical component in this set to find your lines to victory. So what cards should we focus on outside of the planeswalkers? Hopefully you know why a card like Ilharg is a good windmill slam dunk, play it in any red deck. Let's just focus on those commons and uncommons that aren't as obvious, as I trust you know if your rares or mythics are worth playing. Going color by color, white gain life, play strong flyers, and lock down our opponent's threats. Gideon's Triumph, Wanderer's Strike, Divine Arrow, and Prison Realm are all great cards for stopping and removing whatever your opponent wants to do. And I'll include Law Rune Enforcer. The fact that this thing locks down any major creature and it only costs 1 mana, this is a very strong play, so trust me, if you play white, you want to play this card. Other creatures to keep an eye out for, Ajani's Pridemate, yep, it's still good. There's a lot of life gain in this set to keep making this thing grow, along with Proliferate helping it grow even more once you get that first counter on it. Trusty Pegasus is our classic flyer that gives another attacker flying. Yes please, we always would like more evasive threats. And with this set really being played for that mid to late game, I think a creature like Sunblade Angel can provide a lot of value. The fact that it's a 3/3 with flying and lifelink and first strike and vigilance, and then if you can get a counter on it and proliferate it from there, there's just a lot of value in this card. White is strong in this set, it has good removal, it has strong evasive threats, and is overall a great color to find both bombs and removal in. On to blue. Kasmina's Transmutation turns a creature into a useless 1/1. Play all of these copies you can get. Teferi's Time Twist and Lazotep Plating are kind of soft counters, but Lazotep Plating I especially like as it largely acts as a counterspell, giving you and all permanents you control hexproof, and you get to amass 1 for just 2 mana. That seems kinda good. Some hard counters would be Crush Descent and No Escape. No Escape I like a lot more because Crush Descent can quickly lose value into the late game, and it being a 4 cost makes me a little nervous trying to find that great window to play it in. Turn 4 I would rather play Tamio's Epiphany, scry 4, then draw 2. If the game is even remotely close or stalled, you can really push into the lead here. If you're behind, you most likely can't take off turn 4 to draw 2 cards, so this may be sideboarded out against aggro decks. Last but certainly not least, I want to call out Callous Dismissal, because this card is amazing. People do not seem as excited about it as I am. You get to bounce any non-land permanent and amass 1 for 1 in a blue. You can bounce your opponent's amass token, which now makes it basically a removal spell, or just get a nice tempo swing. And no matter what you target, you still end up with a body or get to grow your zombie army. I'm very high in this card at the moment, and I think it's one of blue's strongest commons. Blue, generally speaking, feels like the most supportive of the colors. Use it to stop your opponent's plans, maybe find some flyers for yourself, but overall, use it to keep control of the board, and lean on your second color to really find your threats and push through the damage. Black is here and wants to be seen as the color with the best removal. Ob Nixilis' Cruelty. For 2 and a black, we give a creature -5/-5, and if they die, they are exiled instead. Sorin's Thirst, 2 black to deal 2 damage to a creature and gain 2 life. It's good, but the 2 black means you may have to wait till turn 3 or 4 to use it, but it's an instant and will likely always have a good target at all stages of the game. Liliana's Triumph is good, but can fall flat if your opponent has a wide board, since they get to choose the creature to sacrifice. And I'm ignoring the if you have the specific Planeswalker bonus because that's just not something we should bank on, although we'd all love to open up a Liliana. Spark Harvest is 1 black mana to destroy target creature or Planeswalker. Really good, but the catch is you have to sacrifice a creature of your own or pay an additional 3 colorless and a black to cast it. The fact that it can hit Planeswalkers though makes this well worth it. Price of Betrayal is really nice as well. For 1 black mana, we basically destroy a Planeswalker or shrink a creature down, or their amass token gets shrunk out of existence by removing counters. And one of my favorite creatures throughout the set, and one that I feel will be an all-star common for black, is Vraska's Finisher. The fact that it destroys a creature or Planeswalker that was dealt damage can be a huge swing, and it's still a 3/2 for 3 mana. I would say play every copy of this you can, especially if you're in red and you have some nice pinging options. Black clearly will provide you a lot of removal. The creatures aren't too shabby either and really offer a lot of amass value. Basically, if you see black, don't expect to see your creatures on the board for very long. However, red would also like to throw its hat in the ring as the color with the best removal with their classic instant speed damage spells. There's Chandra's Pyrohelix, that's 1 in a red to deal 2 damage however you see fit across up to 2 targets. Chandra's Triumph is 1 in a red to deal 3 damage to target creature or player. And Heartfire somehow is also 1 in a red, but this requires us to sacrifice our own creature or Planeswalker first, then we get to hit any target for 4. But let's just take a second and admire the artwork and flavor text here. The mage looked within and realized there was still 1 piece of fuel to burn. Okay, back to this. We can ideally cast this after blockers are declared and sacrifice a creature that's going to die anyway, and then boom, 4 damage, coming in hot. And then there's Jaya's Greeting, and it costs, good lord, 1 in a red, and it deals 3 damage to any creature, and you get to scry 1. First of all, Jaya, rude. Second, great card. Okay, red certainly has an argument for best removal, especially when we see Bolt Bend 2. This is better than Counterspell. This says your kill spell is now my kill spell. So take that, blue players. This could easily win you the game if played at the right time, or wrong time, I guess, depending on your perspective here. You want to play this card. Red is the color that's looking to really burn up your opponent's early and mid-game plays, and then push ahead by having their creatures be too big or provide too much value to be stopped in the mid and late game. Then there's green, the color of all things furry and cuddly. Here we get a great removal card at common. Band together. For 2 and a green, you pick 2 of your creatures to deal damage to another target creature equal to their power, which basically means you should be able to destroy any creature your opponent plays. Again, this is at common and an instant, which is very, very strong for green. If you're in green, you want all the copies of this card you can get. Green also has some fantastic creatures. Paradise Druid, 1 in a green for a 2/1 that can tap for any color and has hexproof as long as it is untapped, so you at the very least get 1 use out of it. Evolution Sage can get absolutely insane with whenever you play a land, Proliferate. Yeah, this card can just provide insane value. If you are in green as well, your goal is to be unstoppable. We get a reprinted card all the way back from Alpha with Giant Growth. Yes, this is a trick certainly worth playing, and like all tricks, gets better and better the more trample you have in your deck. Oh, and Mowu Loyal Companion, 3/3 Vigilant Trample that gets more counters than it should. If you play green, you just have to play this card. Everyone in agreement, say aye. Great, moving on. Green has the tools to ramp you, provide some color fixing, and constantly play the big bodies that are out of range of those damage-based removal spells. But then also remember to sideboard in those tricks to deal with annoying flyers, depending on what kind of cards you end up with. Now onto the gold cards, and simply put, there are some for every color pairing, which should be expected because this is still Ravnica. They are all really solid and still fit the theme of each guild. White and black is removal, white and red is great aggro, white and blue wants to control everything. If you're undecided about the direction to go in with your deck, maybe use the gold cards and what was your favorite guild in the prior sets to help be that tiebreaker, and find the deck that will be the best or most fun for you. So my take, again, this set is going to be slow and grindy. I think generally speaking, the Planeswalkers are going to be the main contributor to that. People are going to have a lot more variables to deal with, they're going to have a lot more decision making to make, and second guessing of should I attack that person or the Planeswalker, how do I use my resources? And whenever that happens, I think stuff just slows down. Amass, I think, will be more likely used as a way to get chump blockers out and just have a body there versus a build around type win condition. Proliferate will also help you keep a Planeswalker around longer than your opponent may expect. Could go either way, but right now I'm leaning towards it slowing the game down rather than speeding it up. Another pro tip, generally speaking, don't play 1 and 2 drop creatures unless they provide you value in the mid to late game or you're just a really aggro strategy type deck. In grindy formats, card evaluation and card advantage are going to be crucial, and if you're playing stuff and drawing stuff that basically sits on the board and doesn't do anything after turn 3 or 4, that's a great way to fall behind. Don't do that. Your ability to find the right curve, maximize your card pool, and find your lines to victory are going to be tested probably in this set more than any other that you've seen in the last few years. So just don't play bad cards. There's a top tip. There's also not a lot of mana fixing in this set, so generally speaking, we're going to be forced to probably pick 2 colors and stick to those 2 colors. And I'll just say this set, War of the Spark, does not look as new player friendly as the prior 2 sets. Again, I'll blame Planeswalkers because that just introduces a whole bunch of variables that you normally don't have to weigh in a pre-release. And the fact that it's not as kind of signposted of here's your guild kit, here's most likely the colors that are best for you to play, again, just makes a new player have to flounder a bit more and find what is really the best thing for me to do with this card pool in front of me, and then all the decisions that come to me in a game. If you do have specific questions, let me know. I'll do the best to help however I can, but let's go on to the rankings, which doesn't mean much because each card pool is drastically different from another. But here's my general first impressions, looking at the commons and uncommons, for which colors I think are the strongest. I see red and white closer to that tier 1 because you can find good removal there, you can find good bombs, and overall they're just a really well-rounded color that I think will provide value no matter what angle you take with them. Blue and black are very close. I see them as more the tier 2 because they seem to be really supportive but lacking some of the bomb or damage potential that the other 2 colors do. And green is tier 3 because I don't think they have enough interaction and enough trample. They have some, but I don't think they have enough to push through annoying amass tokens, chump blocking their big threats, and really just getting through and doing the damage they need to close out a game or kill off Planeswalkers or what have you. To take it one step further, even though we're not building guild decks per se, because this is more focused on the War of the Spark, not the guilds, we're still in Ravnica. All the gold cards point to guilds and what they normally want to do, so I'll rank each using the gold cards as well to kind of think of what synergies are there, what value do those cards provide, and then rank accordingly. Tier 1, I have Orzhov, Rakdos, Dimir, and Azorius. I think all 4 of these have enough to stay on the offensive if they need to gain control of the board, to remove whatever threats their opponents play, and then find the bombs that they need to close out a game. Tier 2, I have Izzet, Gruul, and Simic because they have plenty of options to win as well. I just think they're going to be more forced to have to be that late game threat, and they may not be as able to adapt to either an early game threat, or if someone removes your early plays, you're going to be struggling to find that synergy and find that value. Getting ahead will be a little tougher, and I think disrupting their early plays will be more detrimental than those tier 1 guilds. And then tier 3, I have Golgari, Selesnya, and Boros, and I put them in tier 3 because I think their risk to reward is the highest. They have plenty of great cards that if you can synergize with, you're going to run away with the game. But if you play like your amazing optimal 2-drop and then it just gets immediately removed, you might lose a lot of value there, and it's going to be tough to, again, get in front, stabilize, and or take advantage and just close out a game. With that said though, each color pairing seems really good, and I think this is a testament to Wizards really putting a lot of time and effort into building these sets to make a great limited environment. And of course, with it being a pre-release and you having to use a sealed kit, whatever your card pool shows will be drastically different than anything else anyone else sees. So it doesn't matter if you think X color is the weakest, that pre-release kit could be phenomenal and you run away with the pre-release because you just got such amazing cards. You got multiples of all the cards you needed. I mean, it's tough to say blanket, don't play this color, definitely focus on this one. But I'm interested to see how, especially new players to Magic, react to this set because there's not as much structure. There's not the signposts that say, here's the direction to go, here's the cards to look for. This set looks really fun, but there's way more to juggle, especially as a newer player. Either way, I'm excited to dive into this set. I'm so excited to go to a pre-release and check it out. Best of luck at yours. If you do go to one, come back, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know, I'll try and help. If you're enjoying these videos, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. If you're getting a lot of value from these, check out my Patreon. But either way, best of luck. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Okay, we're done. Oh my god, did this just freeze? Tell me I didn't just lose all that. Oh my god. No. Okay, wait, it's back. Okay, oh thank god. Okay. Ooh. Oh, it's still recording. Okay, bye.